Level 1. Level 1 is Demetrious Johnson. Mighty Mouse is the greatest flyweight of all time and one of the most decorated champions in UFC history. He defended the flyweight title 11 consecutive times. That is the record for most consecutive title defenses at a single weight class. He beat every contender the division produced. Joseph Benavidez twice, John Dodson twice, Henry Cejudo, Kyoji Horiguchi, Tim Elliott, Ray Borg in the fight where he pulled off the first ever suplex to armbar in UFC history. He was so dominant that the UFC eventually traded him to one championship because they could not sell pay-per-views with him on top of the card. And the reason they could not sell pay-per-views is the reason he is level 1. DJ does not talk. He never has. He shows up, he fights, he wins, he goes home. He has never insulted an opponent. He has never tried to manufacture a feud. He has never said anything controversial in a press conference. His interviews are about technique and game planning and respecting his opponent. That is it. The man held a UFC title for 6 years and never said a single quotable line. Most fans would not be able to tell you what his voice sounds like. He is one of the greatest fighters who has ever lived, and he has zero trash talk. That is level 1. Pure silence. The opposite of marketing. The fighter who lets the record do everything for him. Level 2. Level 2 is Islam Makhachev. Islam is the current UFC welterweight champion and one of the most dominant fighters on the planet. His record is 28-1, and his only loss came in his second professional fight back in 2015. He has not lost a round in years. He destroyed Charles Oliveira to win the lightweight title. He beat Alexander Volkanovski twice. He submitted Dustin Poirier with a dark choke. He moved up to welterweight and took the belt from Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 322. And in every press conference for every one of those fights, he barely said a word. Islam talks like a fighter who learned English specifically to answer questions about training camp. His responses are short. His tone is flat. He does not insult anyone. He does not call anyone out. When other fighters try to bait him, he stares at them like they are wasting his time. He occasionally smiles. He occasionally laughs. But there is no trash talk. There is no manufactured beef. He represents the Dagestani approach that Khabib built. You fight, you win, you go back to the mountains. The American Kickboxing Academy turned that into a brand. Quiet, dominant, unbothered. Islam took it further than anyone. He is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world, and you could probably count his quotable lines on one hand. That is level 2. Slightly more visible than DJ, still completely silent. Level 3. Level 3 is Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib retired undefeated at 29-0 as the longest reigning UFC lightweight champion in history. He defended the belt 3 times before walking away. He beat Conor McGregor, he beat Dustin Poirier, he beat Justin Gaethje, he beat every elite lightweight he ever faced, and he did not lose a single round in a championship fight. And for most of his career, he barely said anything at all. Pre-McGregor Khabib was the same fighter as Islam. Quiet, polite, boring on the microphone by Western standards. He answered questions in broken English and went back to his hotel room. But the McGregor situation cracked something open. After the bus attack in April 2018, where McGregor threw a hand truck through a window and hurt other fighters, Khabib stopped pretending to be calm about it. He started talking. He called McGregor a chicken. He called him a clown. He famously said, "I will smash your boy" to Conor's face. After the UFC 229 fight, he jumped over the cage to attack Conor's teammate. That was not the behavior of a man who had no trash talk in him. It was the behavior of a man who had been holding it back for a decade. Outside of the McGregor feud, Khabib was almost as quiet as Islam. He could destroy you with a single line. That is level 3. Mostly silent, capable of devastating you when provoked. The kind of trash talk that hits harder because it almost never happens. Level 4. Level 4 is Alexander Volkanovski. Volk is one of the greatest featherweights of all time. 2-time UFC featherweight champion. 28 wins. 3 Max Holloway victories. Wins over Brian Ortega, the Korean Zombie, Yair Rodriguez, and Diego Lopez. He has been at the top of the division for the better part of a decade, and Volk talks. He is not silent like Islam. He is not vicious like McGregor. He is somewhere in between. He has confidence in every interview. He breaks down opponents with technical analysis and calls out flaws in their game. He will tell you exactly why he is going to win and exactly how. He will engage in face-offs. He will have back and forth on social media. He talked plenty of trash to Topuria before their first fight at UFC 298. He talked plenty to Diego Lopes before UFC 325. But there is a ceiling on it. He never gets personal. He never goes after family. He never crosses the line into hatred. His trash talk is measured. He is selling the fight, not destroying the opponent. He is the Australian version of confident, self-assured without being cruel. That is level 4. Real trash talk that actually moves the the needle. Stops well short of nasty. Level 5. Level 5 is Sean Strickland. Strickland is the former UFC middleweight champion. He beat Israel Adesanya at UFC 293 in one of the biggest upsets of the modern era. He has fought everyone the division has ever produced, and he is one of the most quotable fighters in UFC history because he says things no other fighter would ever say. Strickland does not have a filter. He insults journalists in press conferences. He insults teammates. He insults his own coaches sometimes. He has been suspended by the UFC for things he has said on streams. He has gotten into physical altercations at media events. He has called out other fighters' wives, their kids, their backgrounds, their politics, their religion. There is no topic he will not touch. The reason he is not higher than 5 is because Strickland is not really doing trash talk in the traditional sense. He is just talking all the time about everything. He does not target one opponent and build a feud. He insults everyone equally and constantly. He is a stream of consciousness on legs. The trash talk leaks out as a side effect of the fact that he never stops speaking. That makes it less surgical than the levels above him, but the volume is unmatched. That is level 5. Constant, unfiltered, insane in a way that the UFC has tried and failed to control. Level 6. Level 6 is Colby Covington. Colby is one of the most hated fighters in UFC history, and he built that hatred deliberately. 2-time welterweight title challenger, former interim champion. He went 17-4 in the UFC with wins over Rafael dos Anjos, Demian Maia, Robbie Lawler, and Tyron Woodley. And every single one of those fights came with weeks of pre-fight content where Colby insulted the opponent in the most personal way possible. He went after Rafael dos Anjos' home country and called Brazilians filthy animals. He went after Tyron Woodley's family. He went after Kamaru Usman's late father, holding up a photo of him at a press conference after Usman's father had passed away. He wore MAGA hats to weigh-ins. He brought political costumes to face-offs. He filmed videos at Mar-a-Lago. He turned every single fight build-up into a calculated attack on the opponent's nationality, family, religion, or politics. The reason Colby is level 6 and not level 7 is that you can see the strategy. The whole thing is a character. He is doing what Chael Sonnen taught him. Pick a heel persona and never break it. Get people to pay to see you lose. He turned trash talk into a business model. It worked for years. Title shots, pay-per-view headliners, a career of fighting bigger names than he probably deserved on his record. But it is performance. That is level 6, the most calculated trash talk in UFC history. Personal, cruel, always on, always selling. Level 7. Level 7 is Conor McGregor. Conor is the greatest trash talker in the history of combat sports, and there is no real argument. 2-division UFC champion. The first man to hold belts in 2 weight classes simultaneously. The biggest pay-per-view star the sport has ever produced. Every single thing he ever achieved was built on the back of his mouth. Conor did not just talk trash. Conor invented entire feuds out of nothing. He called Jose Aldo's village a dump and said he would invade Rio on horseback. He told Aldo he would have killed him if it was a different time period. He told Eddie Alvarez he was going to break his face and then did it. He stole Dustin Poirier's belt at the press conference and slammed it on the table. He told Floyd Mayweather to dance for him. He gave Khabib's father a heart attack with the things he said about his family. He threw a hand truck through a bus window and started a riot. He pulled up to a press conference in a Rolls-Royce wearing a fur coat that cost more than most fighters earn in a career. Every press conference he attended became a moment. Every face-off became a meme. The May 2017 build-up with Mayweather did 4.3 million pay-per-view buys, the second highest in boxing history, almost entirely because Conor talked it into being the biggest event in combat sports that year. His promotion of his trilogy with Nate Diaz did 1.6 million pay-per-view buys for UFC 202 alone. He turned UFC 205 into the highest-grossing event in MSG history. The volume is one thing. The skill is another. Conor's trash talk has structure. He sets up jokes and lands them. He builds catchphrases. He picks targets and stays on them for months. He knows when to be funny and when to be vicious. He knows when to speak softly and when to scream. The whole sport copied him. Every fighter who has tried to talk their way to a title shot in the last decade has been doing a worse version of what Conor did first. Strickland is louder. Colby is more calculated, but neither of them moved the needle the way Conor did at his peak. He is the reason the UFC is a billion-dollar promotion. He is the reason fighters today think they need a persona. He is the reason trash talk became a skill instead of a side effect. That is level 7. The greatest trash talker who has ever lived. The blueprint everyone else is still copying.